Hello gardening friends! Today I'm going to show you how I use the winter sowing method to plant tomato seeds in February. I'm going to show you what materials we need to get started. We're going to plant, and then I'm going to talk a little bit how you care for your jugs, your seedlings, until they're ready to transplant into the garden. Make sure that you're subscribed so you can come back and see how these tomatoes grow and to see how they're going to transplant into the garden. First of all, the materials that you're going to need. You need a jug, hopefully a recycled jug so you can repurpose them. You want a translucent or clear jug. You do not want the white ones because they won't let enough light through. You do not want the cap. You can take the cap and throw it because you definitely don't want it because it's going to trap too much heat and it won't let the moisture in. You want the moisture to get in from the rain and you want the heat to get out. So the heat rises and gets out so it won't make your plants too hot. Alright, first thing's a jug. Next thing is a knife. I use a knife to put the drainage holes in the bottom of the jugs and in the side of the jugs. You need to be careful using the knife. I am a professional and I have the scars to prove it. I found the best way to cut around the jug is with a heavy-duty scissors. This is a nice gardening scissors. You also want duct tape. The cheapest duct tape you can find is actually the best in this case.
2 minutes later.
Hey airplane, the cheapest duct tape that you can get is actually the best in this case because I tried the more heavy duty, I think it was Gorilla duct tape, and it didn't have enough flexibility so it didn't conform to the surface of the jug near as well. Cheap is good, right? We also need a water bottle to spray the soil that we put over the seeds to make it nice and wet. You need a trowel or you can use your hands to move the potting soil. We do need potting soil. Here's what I use, called Happy Frog. And it is a favorite potting soil for winter sowers. Because it works, because it's got good ingredients in it. And also you need seeds, of course. These are seeds, I'm gonna plant an Everglades tomato today. And these are seeds that I actually saved from last year. Alright, so let's get started. We already threw the cap off of this jug. I'm going to put drainage holes in the bottom, and I go into the soft part here so it doesn't have to push too hard with the knife. I put 4, 1 in each section here. And then we're going to go up an inch and put an extra drainage spot just for like an emergency drainage. And also you can use your knife to go ahead and get started where you're going to cut with your scissors. Or you can just poke your scissors in, but sometimes it's easier to go ahead and get it started. You want to go about 4 inches up and just try to go as straight around as you can. I like to leave where the handle is uncut so that it'll have a little hinge, and that makes it easier to tape when we tape it at the end. Now we're going to put soil in here, and I go up almost to the top of these jugs when I'm putting soil in. And you want to pre-moisten your potting mix, because if you put dry potting mix into a container and then try to put water into it, the water will just a lot of times run off, so it's real hard to get it hydrated again. So go ahead and moisten your potting mix. You want it to be nice and moist. You want it to squeeze it and not have any water come out, but you want to really feel that water. Like I can feel that the water almost came out. In fact, there is a little drip. If I squeeze really, really hard, there are some drips coming out, okay? Alright, and we're going to push that down and pack it in there pretty tight, make it pretty firm, so that the seeds aren't going to get washed down the sides of the container. And you want to make sure the top's pretty level as well. So I got it tamped down pretty tight. Now we're going to go ahead and plant our seeds. I did save these myself. I just basically squeezed tomato seeds from the tomato out onto a piece of paper and paper towel, and they are stuck to there pretty well. So sometimes it's hard to get them off. I did loosen up some of them though. And I'm only going to put 4, maybe 5 seeds in here. Sometimes I get a little more. You can always thin them out a little bit too. So I put 4 spots along the sides here, and then I did put 1 in the middle here. Then we're gonna go ahead and put some soil across the top. Just put a little bit more in, so we'll have about a 1/4 inch of soil across the top of the seeds. Then we're gonna use our spray bottle. We're gonna make sure that the top is wetted down a lot. We want the top especially to be nice and wet. And of course, if we put too much in, it's gonna go ahead and drain out the holes in the bottom. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and tape up the sides. What I like to do is I put it on my jeans here on one side, go to the other side. It's gonna be a little bit wider than my legs. So we're gonna start here at the handle where it wasn't cut, and we're gonna go carefully, try to go about halfway up so that the seam is pretty much in the middle. There we go. And then we're gonna push that down onto the jug and try to get it so there's not any seams where the air is gonna get through. You do want something to write onto your jug so that you know what you planted. Because you might think you're gonna, oh, I'll know what's coming up in there when I see it, but a lot of times you can get fooled. Plus you want to know what varieties you've planted. I use a Sharpie ink pen that you can get at a craft store. I think you've even seen these like the pharmacies, any place that has like craft supplies. The ink pen is really good because it doesn't fade like a Sharpie will fade out when it gets in the weather. So I'm gonna write on here, Everglades tomato. Now a little bit of information about how to care for your jugs. You want to put them in the full sun so they get a lot of sun. I like to put them in a little, I have a boot tray that's about a 1/2 inch deep. And if you put them in there, it's gonna catch the rainwater, and the rainwater is gonna wick up through the drainage holes that we put in the bottom. So the drainage holes are not only for drainage of too much water, but they can also wick up the water when you need water into the potting mix. The way you know that your jug needs watered is, first of all, you can pick it up and see how heavy it is. This jug's pretty heavy because the potting soil was moistened and then we sprayed water on the top, so it's pretty heavy. You can also tell because in the daytime it's going to have a lot of condensation on here when there's plenty of water in your potting soil. If there's no condensation, it's a good indication that you do need water. You can also spray through the top here like this. You just make sure you get around to all the edges like that. But like I said, I like to bottom water them and also use the rainwater for watering. If you have sprouts coming up and you get a late freeze, it is a good idea to put a blanket or some kind of covering over your jug. The jugs will give some protection from the cold, but if it's going to be too much below freezing, I go ahead and cover them up. Other than that, it's pretty much set it and forget it until you're ready to plant them. Of course, you come out and you look in here and you can check and see if your seeds are coming up yet. The cold weather crops will come up earlier and the warm weather crops will come up later. The idea of winter sowing is really that nature knows exactly the best time, the best temperature for your seeds to sprout. So they're gonna sprout when they're gonna sprout. And a lot of times people say, my seeds aren't sprouting, my seeds aren't sprouting. Well, just wait a little bit longer and see. They might still sprout, or it could be possible your seeds were bad. So just be patient and you'll be surprised. You might see the ones at the garden center with the big huge plants and they're looking all great and wonderful, but these are gonna be tough. They're gonna be hardened off so you can plant them right into your garden, and they're gonna catch up with those garden store varieties and garden store plants. Let me know what you're planting in your garden. Let me know if you tried winter sowing. Let me know if you're gonna try winter sowing in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please give it a like. That actually helps a YouTuber's channel almost as much as a subscription. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It's totally free. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you again real soon.